Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 12-hour fundraising event for a second chance. The purpose of this event is just to allow us to do more in the transplant community. I apologize now, I'm actually at dialysis, so it's the noise that you hear in the background. Like I said, the funds that we're raising tonight are to allow us to do more within the transplant community, educate more people, advocate for more people, assist in any way that we can. So even if you can't donate monetarily, then support us as subscribing to our YouTube channel, our social medias, as well as Trish Phillips social media and YouTube channel as well. So Trish, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
No, I'm
Um,
honored that you invited me along with you.
so we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into this. Go ahead and Trish, introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your story, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am Trish Phillips, as he mentioned. I am the executive director and founder of Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation, better known as MMDF. I am a living kidney donor who donated directly to my best friend Kimberly, that I've known for 25 plus years. She and I are both doing well. We just celebrated 6 years of our organ transplant and also 1 year of MMDF's foundation's anniversary.
Awesome, awesome. I just love the fact that you decided to take it upon yourself and donate to your best friend. We don't hear too many of those stories, and you would think you would, but we just don't. So let's recap a little bit. How did 2022 go for the foundation?
2022 went extremely well. I'm humbled of all of the support and everyone that made it possible as our first year kicked off. We had speaking engagements, we had different events. It really kicked off when it came down to EMAT, which is Shirley Scott Brill. She was celebrating and put on a conference, a convention in Jacksonville, Florida. So that's where it really started taking a turn for MMDF back in August, when we were celebrating National Multi Ethnic Living Donor Month celebrations, the whole 9 yards. So that's where it started off, and then it rounded up with different speaking engagements here in South Florida, where I reside from, and different social media events. So I think we had a very great year, and looking forward to many, many more. And thank you, all of you who have supported as Philip Second Chance. You guys have been my number one from day one.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege. I mean, I've said this a number of times. I'm a big supporter when it comes to people who have supported me. And that is definitely you, a number of other people as well that I've had throughout the day come on and host shows, be guests. And so that's what I say, that this day is not just about raising funds for a second chance. It's about everybody that's involved. So everybody that was a host, that's a guest, supporter of those people. It's all about it's about the family, as I like to call it. Um, so with that being said, where do you look to go forward in 2023 and the next 2 or 3 years afterwards?
My vision for MMDF is to continue to spread the word, make a change when it comes to the stats in multicultural communities, debunk the myths, and make it where we're not such rare unicorns when it comes to living donors, and even registering to be an organ donor while you're deceased. Because we are, unfortunately, multicultural communities are number one on dialysis, make up 60% of the 100,000 plus individuals who are waiting for life saving organs, but we are the least to donate, whether it's living or deceased donation. So I would like to make a change in that, and just to be more involved, get more living kidney donors more involved, and just changing. And I hope we can launch and work with NKDO, with Donor Connect, where we can, move forward more with the paired exchange program. There are a lot of African Americans who possibly have donors, living donors, to come forward, but they don't realize that if that person's not a match, it is still possible for you to donate through a paired exchange program. So that's what we're trying to get more involved with as well. I can't hear you. Now I
So,
can hear
with you being a living donor, let me ask you this question, and I know this has had to be a thought before. What do you think needs to be done for us to get more people to be living donors, or just donors in general?
Well, I think first of all, it would need to come from A, which is my biggest mission, even though I'm not a medical doctor or a healthcare professional, to speak on education and prevention. Because we know CKD, the leading three risk factors are diabetes, high blood pressure, being obese, being the age of 60 and older, which we know, as you are aware, it's not limited to ages. So, first, we should all start with trying to prevent those, debunk the myths that run rampant in the multicultural communities. And once we get a hold of that, I think it will be easier to speak to them and let them know, hey, it's okay to be a living donor, even a registered deceased donor. And you can live with just one kidney. If someone looks like you that's gone through the same story, the message is a little bit better received because, we all know about the medical mistrust that we can also have too. So I'm hoping to make changes with that. And also just to let everyone know, it's not the end all if you are not a direct match. There are paired exchange programs don't through Donor Connect. Can't hear you. There you are. I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know what laptop just like went to sleep out of nowhere.
Okay.
Um, I forgot what I was saying. Um, so you go down the road that you just mentioned of how to educate people and everything. Um, what do you feel the best positions are to approach people with that information? Tabling events? Is it just anywhere, in the store, in line? Is it maybe wearing a shirt that says, why not be a donor or something like that? Like, what are your suggestions on how to approach that situation?
Well, what works for me may not work for everyone else, but I stay pretty much in something with donate life on it. Like their conversation pieces. I can be inside of a grocery store and someone may say, oh, that's a bright green. I have a bright green car. So it's their conversation pieces. And then it's so easy being in line. Someone may have a casual conversation about, oh, they're tired. How are you today? And then you can just break out in a conversation with that. I have the best results for me at vending table events and also in church organizations, speaking at church group events, at libraries. So that's where I find, and I always try to tell those who are in search of a kidney here in South Florida, no one will know that you need a kidney if you don't ask or don't promote it. You are your own self, your best self advocate. So they need to speak out because a lot of 90% of the living organ donors, whether it's kidney or liver donors that I personally know, they have donated to strangers. It's very few of us that are direct donors. 90% of them are non-directed, meaning they donated to strangers, and it's because of a story that touched them. Our first ambassador of MMDF, Sophia Jackson, she was on an airplane and a story touched her, and this is how she became a living kidney donor. So you have to put your story out, and that even goes with my recipient. She didn't go around asking. I personally volunteered because she and I are coined the modern day Thelma and Louise, minus the ending, obviously. So I just missed our ventures. When dialysis took her out, meaning it was draining mentally and physically after she was on dialysis, those 3 days a week. So, me seeing her in action and knowing that she was not herself, she was not the Thelma that I knew, that's when I asked. But if someone is standing in the grocery store, you look healthy, no one will know you need a transplant. So you have to be the voice and the advocate of yourself. It's always plus. It's a plus. It's a must. You are on mute.
Yeah, I'm not used to being on mute all the time, so I'm just like used to just stepping in and talking.
Talking. Hmm.
But yeah, my daddy's always said, "Closed mouth don't get fed." If you don't say anything,
I love that.
people aren't gonna know. And also another place that you can for people to go to when looking for a living donor is the gym, because we all know that being a living donor is kind of reciprocated as being a patient. You have to be in shape. Um, there's a certain weight that you have to be, whether it's under, over, whatever. There's a certain weight that you have uh, to be able to donate to someone. Um,
Yes,
I
the
know somebody. We
BMIs.
both right. We both know Lily that was on the show previously with you. She originally couldn't donate because they said that she was too small. But just because they
Hmm.
say that doesn't mean that you stop working at it if that's what you want to do. Because she kept working at it, kept working at it, kept pushing it, and then ended up donating 60% of her liver, like you said, to a complete stranger, somebody she didn't know that lived in her own neighborhood. Um,
Right.
that whose story kind of got her. So, and again, there's different ways to approach the education factor to this. I would say that is not only just educating the people who are looking to donate, but it's also educating the people who are asking.
Yes.
Because you don't want to just walk up to, hey, I need a kidney, you want to give me a kidney? It's like it's not that kind of conversation. This is one of those, hey, let's sit down and have a talk. Let me let you know what's going on with my health. What can be done about it. It needs to be in the most PG-13 way I can say this, a more intimate conversation.
Right.
Um, so let me ask you this question. What was your original reason? And I'm sure it's probably the same reason, but what was your thoughts when you decided to start MMDF?
I decided to start MMDF because I wanted to make a change. I volunteer with several OPO groups, organ procurement organizations, volunteer groups. And when I did tabling events, I noticed that the information was better received when it came from me going to someone that looked like me. And with that being said, I wanted to approach, of course, the goal is to get living kidney donors and registered organ donors. But it is also to let them know, hey, it's okay to have live with one kidney. And I wanted to also change it up and put educating and prevention as a tool, a key to go with this. So that was very important for me to do as well. And I wanted to also show that we are not as rare. We're not a rare black unicorn. I want to change the stats. I want to debunk the myths. Those are key in our multicultural communities. So that is what made me start it. I wanted to be able to have a voice and, of course, um, speak and show them, hey, I am a living kidney donor. I am a registered organ donor. So that was what made me want to start it. Mute. You're on mute.
I'm not used to this mute thing. I'm trying to tell you, this is new for me. Uh, but the myth busting is probably the number one thing that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I say this as funny as I can say it, black people will believe anything pretty much. Like, as long as it makes sense to them. That's the thing. As long as it makes sense to them, they'll go, oh, okay, okay. And so we need to switch these myths around and give them facts. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this person was a living donor. This person was a living donor. This person, and the thing about it is that it's just like me and Carl say. You can line 20 transplant patients up, and you'll get a different story every time. It's the same thing that goes with a living donor. You
Mm-hmm.
line 10, 20 of them up, and you're gonna get a different reason of why they decided to donate. It's all gonna be different. And I think, and that's why I do this show is because people's stories, like I said, are like resources for other people that are currently going through or maybe going through what that person went through. So, um, and the other thing is that I myself as a transplant recipient, and I know I do this a lot, but it's needed. Is to tell you thank you. I mean, you didn't donate to me, but you donated to someone. You saved someone's life,
Oh,
and you
thank you.
technically didn't have to do it. I know you felt in your heart, your soul that you had to because I was your best friend, but in reality, you didn't have to step up and take on that task of saving someone's life. Um, so I told you I was gonna keep it short. What if you let's say for instance you're in the grocery store and let's say you hear someone behind you having a conversation on the phone or with somebody next to them, deciding on if they want to be a living donor or not. What do you tell them?
Oh, if they're actively saying that I want to be a living donor for someone, I probably
Yeah,
would
like if
interrupt their conversation and it's like, oh my God, I'm a living kidney donor.
yeah,
Do
so
you have
like
any questions?
if they're like what I'm saying is like if they're going back and forth in a debate with someone for like some on one side you have someone saying they want to be a living kidney donor, you have somebody on the other side saying, hey, don't do that, you know, and then try to put these myths out there and why they shouldn't do it. What's your first thing that you tell them?
I probably would first ask them to put their phone on speaker to make sure both parties can hear me correctly, and I would just slide out a wooden soapbox and stand up on the mountain and answer any questions they may have and see what their concern or their hesitations are about. I would go from there. That would be the key to find out what was the reason behind the person saying don't do this. That's where I would start.
Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, I'm gonna keep this short and mainly because I'm stuck in this dialysis center and it's noisy as crap, and I understand it. Um, but if you want to leave some last words of advice to anybody who's a recipient, a donor, supporter, caregiver, whatever, what are those words?
I would just like to say if you are in the need of a life saving organ transplant, don't give up. Speak, be your own advocate. Let people know because you never know where or who or how your story would come across and how it touched someone. 90% of the living donors that I do know, they have donated to their stranger just off of a story that touched them. So do not give up. You guys are warriors. And for the most part, if you are thinking about being a living donor or registering to be an organ donor, just remember you probably know someone on dialysis and you would want someone to help you. If you or your loved one, whereas your brother, your sister, your parents, anyone, significant other, need a life saving organ transplant to give them a better quality of life or even save their life, wouldn't you yourself or that for that loved one want the help? So just think about it. Most people don't think about it until they are in the shoes of need. So, with that being said, just think about it. And I always tell people to close their eyes and meditate on it and put themselves in the shoes of someone, those 100,000 plus thousand people that are waiting for this life saving organ transplant. What if you were one of those or someone? So, just think of that and be our own advocate. That's all we can do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let the people know how they can get in touch with you. They may be contemplating on being a living donor, may have some questions, social media, website, all of that stuff that you want to leave.
Okay. Everyone can find myself, Trish Phillips, on all social media handles. Facebook, you can type in that name. Instagram, I'm on all of them. Twitter, TikTok, every last one of them. And the foundation itself is also on all platforms. Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation, which is MMDF. And you can also find MMDF on mmdfoundation.org. MMDF, that would be foundation.org. So that's mmdfoundation.org. mmdfoundation.org. And if you go to that page, there's a link tree where you can even get a hold of me through that if it's easier to look for mmdfoundation.org. And there is a link where you can put an email to me or sign up for newsletters, which we plan to launch next month, next first quarter. I will say February.
We appreciate your time, Trish. And if you can, if again, I say this all day. If you don't want to support Second Chance and support one of the many people that we have as a host or as a guest throughout the day, we greatly appreciate it. If you don't do anything else, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch a couple videos, hit the like button, again, subscribe. Trish, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to you and I continuing to work together as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.